I'm Teresa from Taking Diabetes Head On, and here we are with KAROLINA PAWELEK, and we met her. We'll have to tell an interesting story, but Caroline, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no problem. So tell our audience how we met you. It's kind of interesting.
So my boyfriend and our roommate were at Walmart, and we were in the line checking out. We were about to leave, and Chris, Teresa's husband, came up to me and he goes, "Is that an insulin pump?" I'm like, "Yes." And it's so nice to have someone come up and know it's a pump and not a beeper, because everyone's like, "Is that a beeper?" I'm like, "No, it's not." So, and that's how they kind of started to explain to me about what they do and their Instagram and their videos, and I thought it was really cool because I've never, in my 27 years I've been a diabetic, had a friend that had diabetes ever. So I was kind of like, oh, Teresa's my new friend.
So you were diagnosed at what age?
I was 2, so now I'm 29. So it's
wow, and no diabetic friends at all.
None at all. And kids in school used to actually make fun of me because I would have to have snacks and do my insulin, have my insulin done for me by the nurse. And they would make fun of me and they didn't understand it. So it was hard, And I would go home and I couldn't play because I had to be home at 3:30 to take my insulin before the lovely take your insulin whenever you eat kind of thing. So it was hard. It was hard to explain it at the age of 10 or 15 even.
Right. So. I've been through those teenage years were really, really hard on
Yeah,
you.
Definitely. Yeah.
Wow.
My friends going out and me having to stay home or not be able to eat whatever I wanted, or even when drinking came into the picture. So yeah.
So what do you wear right now?
So right now I actually just got the Medtronic MiniMed 630G.
Mm-hmm.
I am in line to get the 670G in a few weeks, actually. So the brand new pump, they're calling it the artificial pancreas. So I've been on it for about 2 months now.
And how do you like it?
I like it. The sensor is a lot to get used to. So I have the sensor that reads your blood sugar every 5 minutes.
And this is your first sensor?
It's my first sensor, and it's weird, but it's a lot getting used to knowing where you are the whole day. But it's definitely nice to just look at it and know that's where I'm at. I need to add a little bit or turn it off for a little bit because it's pumping too much. So it's really helping a lot.
And how's your boyfriend handling it?
Good. He gets upset with me, if I go too high or too low, because he knows if I'll start to talk really funny, he'll be like, "You're low. You need to eat something right now. You're not a child. Eat." But he's been amazing too. He's very helpful, and he didn't know anything about it until we met 3 years ago. So, he's learning too.
Oh,
he's learning diabetes as well. So he's really good about it.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah. That's good to hear. So, diagnosed age 2. First diabetic friend. I'm glad we get finally get to meet. Because I remember when I was first diagnosed, my diabetic friend was at the age of 17, and I was diagnosed at 12. So all during high school, I didn't know anyone, and I know that feeling is isolation and everything else. So it's not a fun feeling.
Yeah, you really honestly feel alone, because I've always had my family behind me, but even my mom always says, "I don't know how you feel," in those moments where you don't really have someone to kind of talk to and that understands really. So it can definitely be hard for sure.
So talking about your mom, was your mom a helicopter parent where they kind of hovered over you, made it hard a little bit?
Not really. I think they really tried to make me have the freedom that they could give me, but it was new for them too. Even being diagnosed at a young age, my mom still had to learn everything, and growing up with diabetes, she was right there growing up with it with me as well. So they were good with it, giving me as much freedom as possible, but still I think more of a tighter leash than normal kids, because of the insulin. And if I'm out, I could be eating candy and my blood sugar spikes or drops, and she wouldn't know where I am or what I'm doing. But I would say overall, no, they didn't really hover. They let me learn on my own a lot too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was really good. So, but she's still, even to this day, the other day I was in the hospital and she was like, "Do you need me to fly to Vegas?" Because she's in New Jersey.
Oh,
so I was like, "No,
Jersey.
it's okay."
So tell us about the story. I know you were telling us that during the pre-show. What happened?
So I'm still learning my pump and the infusion sets. So I did my infusion and I went to bed and I woke up at blood sugar 400, which is very high. And I, did my bolus, my blood sugar. I went to work and then got very sick at work. Just felt horrible and felt like I had heat exhaustion. I couldn't keep anything down. I was trying to eat, drink. I couldn't keep anything down. So I came home and called 911. Nobody was home, so I just called 911 and they came to get me. And my blood sugar was unreadable in the ambulance.
Oh, wow.
I got to the hospital and my blood work came out at about 680 blood sugar. So I was at that point diabetic ketoacidosis, where basically my body was too acidic to work. So they put me on an insulin drip. So they said it's the only type they have that goes into like intravenous, and just kept me on a fast for 30 hours and got my blood sugar down to like a steady 80 for a couple hours before they let me go home. So that was, and that's another thing, you know, kind of feeling like you're by yourself laying in the hospital, and you're kind of, you know, I've never gone through it. Luckily, in the 27 years I was diabetic, I've never had diabetic ketoacidosis until last week.
Wow.
And it was like, am I going to be okay? You know, and the doctors, as much as they know, they, you know, they also don't know how you feel and how to really talk to you.
Definitely.
Yeah, because they'll tell you the best and worst case scenario, and you're like, oh, I'm going to be okay. And they're like, well, we'll see. You know, and you're like, well, tell me I'm going to be okay. So it was an experience for sure, but a learning, you know, the big.
So this must be your first pump then?
It is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So now you know to check your infusion site. What happened to your infusion site to cause this?
The actual little plastic piece looked like this. It didn't go in. So the introducer needle went bent. Yeah, so it was like this against my skin, delivering insulin out.
Oh.
Yeah, so I wasn't getting insulin for about 8 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that caused the blood sugar of almost 700, which even saying it seems crazy that it was that high. Yeah, so.
So do you know when you're going low and when you're going high? Can you feel it?
Yeah, I do. And you know, I took a class a couple years back, and they're saying how the longer you have it, you kind of become desensitized to it. But luckily, I'm very sensitive to when I'm going high and low. So I'll feel when I'm low, when I'm dropping about 80, 70, I'll start to feel like I need to eat, and then soon I'll be 60.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and then with high blood sugars as well, I'll be like, oh, I think I didn't take enough insulin. I'll test, and I'll be at like 200. So I'm still luckily pretty sensitive to it.
Well, that's great, especially since having diabetes that long. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I know carb counting is hard, because I know I struggle every day doing that. It's a hard thing, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's wonderful. So Caroline, when we met, your boyfriend was saying how you were really wanting to get involved in diabetes and you're excited. Can you tell us your story and let our peers know a person with diabetes, what they've gone through, if you're having complications, how work is, life is, especially being by yourself for as long as you have it alone, and see how that felt?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess my biggest thing, and I actually wanted to start, you know, kind of internet blogging and doing a little bit of that as well on the topic, because at 29, I've already had many complications. So my eyesight is definitely not what it used to be. I've had 3 eye surgeries. I recently actually went through a toe amputation, which you don't think it's going to happen to you until it does. So for me, just letting people know, you know, it's a silent, you know, I don't want to say silent killer, but it's a disease that really kind of sneaks up on you. Because throughout my teenage years in high school, I didn't care. I ate whatever I wanted. You know, my A1C was 13. And now I'm like, I wish I could go back and tell my 17, 18-year-old self, like, you know, as fun as it was to go out with friends and do, you know, have that freedom once you kind of are out of high school and going into college, you know, you really need to just be careful and watch what you're eating, what you're doing, because it comes up on you. I mean, overnight, my eyes went bad. Overnight.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was... And you know, it caused a very bad car accident. I remember I was driving, and I totaled my car, and you know, they were like, we don't know how you made it. We don't know how you survived. The car was totaled to pieces, and it was because my eyes were, and then after that I had cataract surgery twice. I just had retina surgery to correct it. I have scarring on my eyes. So a lot of issues that, you know, it just takes that minute to check your blood sugar, you know, that 1 minute, and do your carb counting right. And you know, it's inconvenient, but so is going blind. So it's, or losing a toe and being in the hospital for 2 weeks on antibiotics, and you know, it's crazy. But because my grandma used to always say, you know, so and so lost their limb, and I'm like, that's not gonna happen to me. Like they don't care, you know. But I didn't care, and look what happened.
Wow, so you had a toe amputated.
Yeah,
wow.
So I have 9 toes. Yeah.
Wow.
Just this year, actually. So it's been a rough year. I've been in the hospital twice already. But it's been a year of awakening. But that, you know, every time I tell people this story, they go, you should tell others about it.
Definitely.
And you know, so that's kind of what sparked me wanting to really do this and kind of start, blogging and writing, and, who knows, maybe YouTube, and just kind of let people know, it happened to me. It can happen to you. We're not invincible. So
that's right, because you feel good, and then all of a sudden,
exactly, you feel great.
right,
You don't, and then 10 years later, which also snuck up on me really quickly.
yeah, because you feel fine. It's like the invisible diabetes is the invisible disease.
Right.
You feel good, you feel fine, and everything else.
And then all of a sudden, and now it's, there, and it really is horrible to hear. You'll never see 2020 again. You'll never do this again. You'll never. And it's like, wow, I could have prevented this. So to me, it's like, if you can help at least one person, then it's worth it.
Caroline, just looking at you, I would have never guessed the story that you just told us. I mean, you look so great, vibrant, young, beautiful. I would have never guessed all the problems you had.
Yeah.
And just, unfortunately, there's many people like you who feel the same way, who has complications, who you can't tell. It's a hard struggle to do.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And, just sharing your story, we really appreciate it.
Of course, yeah, and that's a big thing for me, is letting people know, don't be afraid to, tell people. Like, I used to hide the fact that I had diabetes, and I used to be, scared to tell people, or I have to take insulin or this. And don't, it's a part of you. Now, I have people that say, hey, it's so cool, you're like a cyborg, because, I have all these ports and everything, and I'm starting to really accept it and be like, yeah, I have diabetes, and I'm taking care of it, and, I spent a long time training, trying to figure out this pump, and it's a part of me, so why not? My pancreas is on the outside.
Yeah, you wear your pancreas on your hip.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I know. Because I know when I saw you, we saw your wiring from your pump.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, hey, because usually some people try to hide it in, don't see it, or, or they're saying it's my beeper or something when somebody comes up. Because I know when people come up, well, is that your beeper? God, beepers are no more. I was like, no, it's a diabetic pump.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to have somebody who actually knows what it is.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for telling your story. And everything else. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. No, thank you so much for letting me.
So we want to thank Carolina for sharing her story, diabetes or story to assist many people with diabetes in our new series, Peer-to-Peer in Taking Diabetes Head On. I'm Teresa.
And I'm Carolina, and I'm taking diabetes head on.